Yesterday we had one meeting. Karthi Madhav sir arranged one meeting yesterday. I attended that meeting. So what I learned from that meeting, there was one felicitation for one old man. He was a teacher in late 60s and 70s and 80s, school teacher, comes from Dalit background, and he was a teacher. Why I am saying today Sujatas and then the teacher is, so there is a connectivity. So how Dalit teachers, no, it's not that Dalit teachers alone, there are many teachers who are attacked, but just I would like to focus on how Dalit teachers and students are treated in universities, specifically institutions, so-called higher learning institutions. Now, while saying yesterday, Karthi Madhav sir saying that he did a lot of service, a lot of agitation to liberate the bonded labor in Telangana, specifically Medak district. No one knows. Actually, many of the mainstream history or so-called mainstream intellectuals, they do not know about him. No one knows, actually we are not knowing the kind of work he did. Almost thousands of bonded laborers were liberated just because of his initiation. He is a school teacher who teaches alphabets in school. See, that was the consciousness to it. Of course, he was taken help of Shankaran sir and Madhav sir, many other people. He was telling frankly, I think there was life threat on him, and he was chased out from the village, and he was, the landlords wanted to kill him on the spot. He escaped out. Now today, after almost 60 years, we are not seeing much difference. That's what I could see. Yesterday when we listened to him and listening to what is going on in Satavahana University and Central University, what Professor Kalpana said in Central Universities and State Universities also, I think there is no difference. So let me say, with this I wanted to say how Dalit students and teachers in universities, they are being attacked by the state or the state sponsored attacks on them, you can say. So here there are two things, conceptually and substantially, and the practice also that is going on. I think there is some differentiation between them. The teachers, most of these Dalit teachers, we could see when you contextualize them, the teachers who joined 60s and 70s and 80s, whether they are in school or universities and specifically after 90s, the Dalit teachers who joined in universities, higher learning institutions, there is a differentiation. And that difference is also true with the students. I think there is a difference. I think with that differentiation and these so-called organic intellectuals, they started articulating differently. I think that difference of articulation is not being tolerated, or it is intolerant for the so-called established order. What is their articulation? Why they are being targeted? That's a very fundamental question that Anand raised, and then Professor Kalpana also said, who are the forces behind it? What are they? When you see the Central University, I could see for the past 20 years, when I joined in 1990 as a lecturer, the kind of students that enrolled in Central University, the kind of students that Rohit generation has come, I think there is a difference. In that difference, I think Rohit, people would say, oh, he hanged himself, he's a very timid fellow, why he should get suicide, he should not. But that is not a question here. The letter he wrote, I think full of questions. The letter that he wrote while, hanging himself, full of questions. I think those questions are made in classroom and outside the classroom. I think the formal classroom has been taken out to the public. I think maybe Gramsci, maybe he are used as an organic intellectual, extended to the linkage that they are connecting with the public and the institutions. That linkage, I think Sujata, whether it is a Sujata or Ailaya, earlier, if you go back to the 90s, one school teacher was in a broad daylight was killed. He was working in KNPS and he was, opposed certain dominant forces in Mahabubnagar. He was killed. He's a school teacher. And Lakshmaya also, one of the KNPs, he was attacked and put behind the bars. And then so many, you have Pansari and then Balgopal sir was attacked and all. Here, now ILSR and in Central University we have other. But in the classroom, the formal classroom, what they are teaching in classroom, the kind of students that they are facing in formal classroom is a different, what I said. The kind of questions they are posing to the teachers is also very different. So now, the elitist or mainstream teachers who are with STOP, teachers generally, of course, we are in an institution, it's very difficult to distinguish whether we are in the system or again at the system. We cannot. But the mainstream elitist intellectuals and the kind of students that are facing in classroom and the teachers who joined in 90s and early 20s and this millennium, we could see very clearly there is a differentiation. Why students are raising this question? That is the one thing. And why universities, specifically higher learning institutions, are in crisis. The institutions that are in crisis are the teachers, what I call as elitists and other teachers or mainstream teachers, who could not explain certain things or confined into certain things. I mean, today, no one knows what is Koregaon. But of course, we know, we read Ambedkar works, we know. But most of them do not know. Thanks God that everyone knows now Koregaon. Everyone. If you see the history, they have not mentioned about the Koregaon. They have not mentioned about the Dalits. They have not mentioned of those struggles, what I mentioned that, one teacher who worked for liberation of thousands of bonded laborers in our own Telangana region. No one knows. No historians have, the so-called even subaltern historians have not mentioned. Now, the teachers who are coming to the institutions, they started articulating and the students also learning and questioning. I think this question has become a problem. That's a very important word. That question, see, it could be a very idiotic question for us. What to do with the land mafia and Professor Sujata? People may ask us, what is there in the land and Professor Sujata? Why you should involve in that? I think there is the substantial, the material that we can get from that. Why Sujata talk about land mafia? Why Ratnam should talk about something else, or Manu or something else? I think this is not tolerated. When you talk about the land and other natural resources that are extracted, and you take the so-called political economists also could not understand this problem. Now, Dalit teachers are articulating and taking to the mass, disconnecting the mass and the institutions and the students and the other people. I think that is a problem for the ruling class, irrespective of the parties, whether they are, I think Professor Kalpana said, almost all the parties and their intellectuals are not comfortable the kind of questions that are coming from these intellectuals. And then I think that is what happened see, when Rohit was forced to do that, the organizations, the right-wing organizations submitted one letter to the MHRD. In that letter, they submitted some 4 or 5 things. What they wrote, when Amartya Sen came and his lecture was disturbed. Yes, I was there in that lecture. Why Dalit students agitated to listen Amartya Sen, argumentative Indian? They were not interested. They were not interested because he is a Nobel orator, not that. The kind of questions he raised throughout his life, and he came and talking something which are, different to that of what they are facing in university, that is not reflected in his lecture. That is why he was stopped half an hour. He understood. Yes, he repented. Yes, I am sorry, I could not raise these questions. I am receiving these questions. I would like to answer those questions. He was stopped. And the right-wing forces says, Amartya Sen lecture was stopped by the ASA. Why they stopped? They stopped not just they wanted to make a protest. It's not it. When Venkatachalaya came to the university first time after taking, he was a Supreme Court, Chief Justice. He was Chief Justice, and after retirement, he took up the job of reviewing the Constitution. The first time came to University of Hyderabad, he was stopped almost 1 hour in Central University. See, the ASS students, they are not passionate about stopping the lectures, but these are the points that they raised and then sent to the ministry. Look how these people are reacting. Yes, it's a public institution. They want to use that public sphere, what Habermas called, properly. They want to communicate. There is no communication. They want to communicate in the way that, whether we read Habermas or not, whether we read Gramsci or not, that's a different matter. But the Dalits are articulating what they are not seeing in the mainstream history and your own contents of the lessons. If I say one lesson in my classroom, they are asking, where is Mahatma Phule in your lecture? They are asking, yes, I have to prepare on Mahatma Phule. For the past 60 years, there is no lesson on Mahatma Phule, there is no lesson on Koregaon, there is no lesson on Ramabai. Now I have to prepare. Instead of preparing on the lecture, I am accusing the student, oh, these people are hooligans, they are Naxalites, they are anti-nationals. So what nonsense it is. You are not able to answer the questions that are posed by the students in a classroom, and in turn you are nomenclature that you are using to the students who are coming from, the Velivada erected in Central University, the symbolic Velivada, when comes to the university, that itself is intolerant for you. The Velivada is posing questions. You are not in a position to answer those questions. I think, what is there for a university professor to talk about this Reddy, the very, very good slogan that they prepared. I think Husa and Sujata, Bharat Reddy, Abangapatna. See, it is not that Sujata was attacked simply. There is a lot of things behind that. I think that's what. In University of Hyderabad is also accumulated factors are there, which all accumulated. Then I think Rohit was forced, and then 4 Dalit students were expelled, and earlier 10 Dalit students were rusticated from the university. These are accumulated anger that they wanted to put in the form of question. That too in institutions where you are claiming as eminence and excellent, or public institutions all the more. They are not something which are private. Public institutions, they are asking the questions. Yes, Professor Amartya Sen, what you talked about Ambedkar, this is what the question they asked. Amartya Sen was, yes, I confess that I have taken the concept of welfare economism from Ambedkar. He said it. But then, why you are not talking about Central University students who are expelled? You talk on first. So that's what he was stopped. Of course, he was intellectual stopped, but he understood. But the state is not understanding. The state that is becoming more and more, and I would like to say from Dalit intellectual point of view, or even mainstream intellectuals who are not and who are unable to understand. I am telling, even today no intellectual of this country says that Indian state is a casteist state. Starts with Professor Rajni Kothari. I am a political science student. I have not seen any, even Father Chatterjee, whoever you take the top names of the political science, even today they have not characterized the nature and character of Indian state is a casteist and religious. Why we are afraid to say? Why you are not characterizing Indian state? If someone says, then you are saying that anti-national. The easy thing that, Sujata is having some connections. What are those connections? What connections that you are attributing to them? Or taking to that extent, or branding Sujata as some connection with extremists or terrorists? Or what is this excuse for you? Instead of solving and resolving the problem, you are magnifying it. I think that is what happened in Central University. The institutions which are headed by these people have no slightest tolerance for the question. I am saying, institutions which are headed, they do not respect the self. They don't have any self. They do not respect the self of the whatever Dalits are under marginalized or women. They don't have respect for the self. They don't have respect for the dignity. They don't have respect for the question. They don't have any respect. They want to bulldoze the discontent that comes up. I think instead of taking that, I think this is what is going on, because Rohit in his entire asking the questions, what are you doing? It's not, I can reduce what mainstream people would say that, oh, Rohit is asking for hostel facility, Rohit is asking for scholarship. It may be idiotic for you to ask for scholarship and hostel facility, but that is not the question for you. It is a survival question, it's a dignity question, it's a self-respect question, it's all the more intellectual articulation that they are coming from that community. You are not understanding that anger, simply you are branding them, oh, this is what, I think that is not. That's what I think. There is a disconnection here. That is why I think Dalit, whether it is ILS or PC or whatever it may be, or Sujata or whoever it may be, and that they are taking the classroom to the people and bringing the people to Sujata. She played a greater role in Patapalli struggle. Patapalli people came and the university teachers went to the Patapalli first time, and then mass came to the university to understand the struggles of the students. I think this connection, mass and institutions, I think this has been started by these organic intellectuals. That is why rightist forces and the state is very, very vehemently put down these intellectual forces. And this is a context that I think in that context the central universities today is not exception. JNU, when we were asked, myself and Tadagat was arrested and put behind the bars for 7 days, JNU people called us. JNU is also, I must take 10 years in JNU. We have seen the JNU, how it was. Now, every institution is exposed, how undemocratic they are. All these people are, conceptually, they are redefining. What is your democracy? Oh, you are teaching democracy in a classroom. Then students would ask very simple question, very ordinary question. Sir, you are talking about democracy, so equality, all these. What is a democracy for me? You let me know. I am not in a position to explain the democracy that has been taken to the masses of the Dalits of this country. That is why I think there is a problem. They are trying to redefine the concepts. They are trying to re-articulate, which are articulated in whether good or bad. I think they are trying to do that conceptually and taking these concepts to the masses and linking what Gramsci called the mass and the people. I think that is where the problems are coming in the central universities. One Lakshminarayan sir, he is a professor. He has a major role in Rohit struggle. The kind of comment that wrote, so we cannot talk in a public. Why is it? Lakshminarayana doesn't know anything economics, and he used very four word. Let's use 4 words. Doesn't know economics, and he should be sacked. What is? He said that how the question that he formed when in a semester examination, saffronization. It is a concept and explanation, and he used the saffronization, and there is an anger against it. So teacher cannot use the word saffronization. He made a question, and that question has become a problem. So I think these are the things that we have to understand. There is a problem. Higher learning institutions are in crisis, and that crisis, I think Dalits intellectuals, I am taking, as I said, I am taking stand, and they are trying to pose some questions along with the students, and that is intolerant for them. That intolerance is replicated in many forms. I think today it is a new form that has come on Sujata. To say about Sujata, she is a lone voice from Dalit women. We are proud to say from the Telugu speaking world that she is the only Dalit woman talking and very publicly and in a classroom openly about the state and about the anti-social elements. They may brand as anti-national, that's anti-social, we don't care for it. But she knows who are the anti-national, she knows who are the anti-social, she knows who are the democratic forces. I think she is trying to redefine those concepts, that's why they are afraid of her. Bharat Reddy. They coined that slogan itself was implemented. Bharat Reddy Bharatam Padatam. Bharat Reddy Bharatam Padatam. బాధితుల పైన బాధితులకు భరోసాగా ఉంటాం. I think this slogan is a highly theoretically loaded slogan. It's not an ordinary slogan formed simply like that. It's not like that. It is Bharat Reddy Bharatam Padatam. బాధితులకు భరోసా ఇస్తామనేది అది ఇట్స్ నాట్ an ordinary slogan. They implemented. Bharat Reddy was arrested. Now they want to see Sujata should be arrested. You see how they are. I think it's a very well knit and very highly organized crime they are doing, and that has to be